Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
So hello, everybody. Thanks for signing in. We're here to talk about getting and nailing interviews. I had a slide deck, but I'm not confident I'm going to be able to present or to show it. So we might just start. Paresh, are you ready?
I can make you a presenter if you have a slide deck. Why not?
Okay, we
Let's
can.
try that, right?
Well, I just
Um,
had the community news, and unfortunately, it's for April, and April's almost over.
okay. No problem at all.
So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, so this is what it was, right? Presenter Janice. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So I'm going to start now, and I'm going to put this into show my screen, right? And here you go. Just quick show of hands if everybody can see what is shown over here.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, so Janice, will you take the questions for them? And I don't mind interactively answering those questions. So
Will do.
some people said not attentive. Okay, that's not our problem. Okay, so somebody just logged in and they did not do much. Okay. So hi folks. Hey Janice, thanks for getting this rolling. I had a little idiotic moment for the day, and I must acknowledge before I go ahead, and Eric Romero from the PASS headquarters really saved my bacon today. So thank you, Eric, for doing that. And so one of the things that I've been working on was trying to get this chapter revived, and I see it's a pretty good number of people already there. It's about 25 other than the organizers, which is awesome. And this is the first thing that I was hoping to talk. And there's one more thing that is also coming up, and that is, a couple of things. Okay, I lost my job. What to do next? That is something that we plan like a couple of months from now. Then we also have the art and science of business networking, for example. So I look forward to actually having all these brought to you. And if you have any specific topics that you like to listen to, for example, how to write your resumes, okay, or how to use LinkedIn for professional success, please definitely give us a howl. We would love to hear back from you. This is a community forum, and if the community participates, it always gets much better. So thank you all the 30 odd people who are already here. I really am impressed to see people interested in a non-technical topic, which is beautiful. So what had happened was that, as you can see in the date here on December 9th, 2017, the Providence, Rhode Island SQL Saturday, I presented this topic based on my own job searching experiences. And I get actually paid for giving this presentation, so you know that. And this is coming to you free, of course, but people were absolutely baffled to see the things that I was going to say in this one. And a couple of the women actually in the room, they started crying because they just realized how many mistakes they were making while looking for an interview. So we'll make this whole process very interactive. So feel free to jump in, ask questions. And today, posing and handling your questions is not my problem. It is Janice's problem. So please definitely do that. So let's start. So that's me. My name is Paresh Motiwala. I basically lead 4 chapters here. So one of them is the DBA virtual group, where we have about 27,000 members, and we have New England SQL Server user group, which is an in-person user group, and Boston Business Intelligence user group. So between the two, we have about 5,000 members there. So that's my family on the left there, and my daughter just got married in March, and that's my son in the front. My daughter graduates in 2 weeks from our med school in Quinnipiac, Connecticut. One of my other passions in life is teaching public speaking, debating, and group discussion skills to children. And there's one set of students who graduated from one of those courses with a congresswoman from New Hampshire as the chief guest for the day. So let's see what we're going to be doing. So this is my contact information for those who are interested. I work also as a DBA manager at Nuance Corporation, which is, possibly the founder of the basis of the Siri software, basically, that you see in your iPhone. And This is my Twitter handle. Please go ahead and tweet about us. And the PASS Professional Development Chapter hashtag is PassProfDev. So if you do like this or don't like it, feel free to go ahead and tweet about it. If you feel you want to contact me, that's my information here. These are some of the places that I actually help out as. And then I also organize these Boston SQL Saturdays, Boston BI SQL Saturdays, Providence SQL Saturdays, Boston Global Azure Boot Camp, and so on. And I run this organization called Circles of Growth with my wife, where she runs the daycare and I run the soft skills development in children. So getting and nailing interviews. How many of you have actually gone through the process of trying to find a job and then trying to find an interview for a job and then succeeding at the interviews? So what we'll do today is we'll have a lot of common questions and common really stupid mistakes that we make, right? And don't feel bad about stuff that I say, but the first thing you really want to do is networking and volunteering, right? So we'll talk about that, how that really helps you get interviews or get job interviews. How to use social media for effective job search and making sure that your profile always floats to the top. Never stop looking. Okay, so especially for people who have spent 5 or 10 years in the same company, seriously, guys, you really need to start looking. Speak at various functions, speak at various events, whether they are SQL events, there are .NET events, there are Oracle events. Definitely go ahead and speak, present, train within your own company. And blogging actually, sorry, this is wrong, but blogging is also one way of getting good kind of traction for your career. It should not be blogging, sorry about that. And then we'll also go through some of the very important tips for preparing for your interviews. Do I just show up? What the heck am I doing? Why am I going there? Do you know what company is doing? Do you know what is the cash cow of the company? Do you know who is going to interview you, and so on? What do you do during the interviews? I can give you a classic example. One of my colleagues whom I had kind of the distinct displeasure of interviewing, he was actually slouching in the interview. Okay, and I'm saying, no, sit straight, look straight into the eye of the interviewer. That's the way to go about doing it. And maintaining records, this is something that almost 90% of the people I have met with who are in job market never do, is to actually maintain the records of the interviews that they have given. These records can come to you handy in two different ways. A, you don't end up applying in the same place through two different agencies and basically getting blacklisted there. The second thing is that if you are going to be applying for, what do you call this, unemployment thing, then they really need to have a record of how many places you have applied. I think you have to apply for at least 3 different places a week for you to be able to eligible for unemployment. So that goes a long way. And then how do you follow up, right? I can show you that too. And then we'll have a conclusion with, like every other presentation, there is no good presentation without conclusion. And if you have any question and answers, I mean, if you have a question, we can try to come up with some answers or some best solutions kind of scenarios. So let's start. So networking, right? So what do you do in your networking? I mean, seriously, half of the people I have spoken to at various SQL events where I speak in my community, the first thing I tell them is, hey guys, did you make any new friends this week? Did you make any new contacts this week? Yeah, we don't have time for that, Paresh. We are too busy. The second answer is, but we already have a job. Why do we need to network? Networking has to be a way of your life. You cannot use network or your networking skills as a medicine. It has to be a way of life. Volunteering, whenever you help somebody, you're already volunteering. This volunteering actually helps you bring a very powerful circle of friends. Say, for example, you're volunteering to teach your child's football team or baseball team. You may not know, but the CIO of a company who could be sitting right next to you could be a guy who's offering you a next job there. So definitely use networking skills to the max. So in-person networking, as I said, go to conferences. Don't sit next to the person you already know. That's a classic mistake that we make. The most important thing you also want to realize is that go to staples.com or vistaprint.com or somebody which can offer you like 250 or 500 business cards at $10, literally. You should be able to go ahead and get those cards done. When you go to an event like this, make sure that you carry your cards. Give the cards to them. That makes it sound very professional. Even you know that chances are these guys are going to be throwing away your card in the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But carry your cards. Volunteer for your churches, for your community, for your baseball team, for your town. You will come across so many people. It's not even funny. Professional groups like PASS, right? How many of you are members of PASS, for example? Do you go to SQL Saturdays? Do you go to the PASS Summit? What do you do there? Try to find people you already know and kind of spend your whole day with the same person you know, or try to meet somebody else whom you don't know and thereby expanding your circle. Speaking, mentoring, if you have not done that, definitely worth doing it. I'll tell you why. If you mentor a child, for example, you come into the good books of their parents who could be possibly the people who can get you the next job or a next tip as to where to go and apply for. Presenting at places like this, how many times have I gotten job offers within weeks or 10 weeks? For example, my topic on big data, it was such a huge success in this area that people come to me and ask me, Presh, we are looking for a project manager for leading our big data initiative. Would you like to join us? And, depending on what your current interest is or your job situation is, you take it or not. But this is a good problem to have rather than waiting to find out if you have a job. Or if you don't have a job, do you really want to start going about presenting at that time? It looks very ridiculous. So don't do that. Church, as I said, church, your temple, your mosque, definitely volunteer at these places. You'll be amazed how many super rich people are there in your churches who are very well placed. But when you are in the same church, the playing field is leveled. Everybody looks at everybody else as friends rather than a CIO and a programmer. That's definitely a good place to be doing it. Sports team, as I said, if you are teaching something or just even agreeing to be a referee in your baseball game, or if you're going to be there selling snacks at the snack shack in your football field, you make some serious friends. If you now really look back into these options that I'm just sharing with you right now, take a score of these opportunities that you would have faced in your life and you actually walked out on those. I said, no, I don't have time to do this. If you see the people who are in a community who are good at volunteering and who participate in professional groups are the people who are least likely to be unemployed for a long time because they get job referrals, business opportunities from internal circles. You don't have to look too far. I hope that kind of helps you, right? Then look at the job boards that we have in man, right? How many of you have actually got your memberships on Monster, careerbuilder.com, LinkedIn Jobs, Indeed, right? This is my take on this. If you have LinkedIn is available as a LinkedIn Jobs application on your smartphones, you can actually be applying for a job from your LinkedIn job application while you are in the elevator. You don't have to spend special time to go home and formulate your resume. Now, how would you go about uploading your resume? What I suggest is always have your resume out there in the cloud, somewhere like a OneDrive or Google Drive or what do you call it, Amazon Drive or Dropbox or something like that. LinkedIn Jobs actually allows you to go into these shared drives from where you can actually click and upload your resume. And there is one click job application also available through LinkedIn Jobs. So yes, you can do a lot of these. Facebook. I don't know how many of you have that huge stigma against Facebook that it is, of course, forget what happened about a month ago with the Cambridge firm and the Donald Trump uh, campaign and so on. But if you look at it, it's a great place to look for jobs. For example, did you know that we have a SQL Saturday Facebook group? We have a Power BI user group on Facebook, and we have SQL DBA group on Facebook. If you are looking for a job, it's okay to post it on a Facebook. And if you can't do it because you are too shy or ashamed to post it on the Facebook that you don't have a job, or that you're looking for a job because possibly your boss or his friend is on Facebook with you, then the ideal thing to do is have somebody else post it on your behalf and without giving your name. And once they receive some sort of a hit, like I have posted so many jobs for some of my friends who are social media shy on my LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. And believe it or not, within 24 hours, I get 4 or 5 hits at least. And these 4 or 5 hits is something they would not have gotten had they not resorted to going to the social media. So I would say job boards are great. Some of them can be real jerks about the whole thing, but you definitely don't want to let go of your social media. On Twitter, follow the right people. See, they might have, one tweet that can actually change your life. It can change your career. They may actually point you to a location where you can get some seriously free training. Geez, go ahead and get it. It'll go a long way. Uh, one more thing I would like to warn you against is a troll. I don't know if you know what that troll means, but a lot of recruiters, what they do is that they have, say, for example, a QA person that they're looking for a customer. They know that Janice is a great QA person, Paresh is a great QA person. I want their resume not to be supplied to their customer through anybody else. So what they will do is they will approach you. Hey, Janice, I have a great QA opening with Bank of America, say for example. So you're all excited. Wow, it's going to be a great six-figure job for me. Why don't I apply for this job through these trolls, as they are called? So what they do is they take away all these effective resumes from the field, and then they push their own candidates there where they make more money. So for example, if they're making 25% on your salary, chances are they are making more money through their own candidates, like 50% or so. And after a week or so, they'll tell the client that, you know what, I could only find 2 people. They will not say that they found Paresh and Janice, but they chose to withdraw there or not push their resumes through to you. So watch out for these. So when you have a recruiter approaching you for a job or something like that, make sure that you are very definitive that I need a confirmation from you in the next 2 days that you have actually submitted my resume there. Okay, and then I will follow up with that company to see if indeed my resume has been submitted there or not. I have actually fallen afoul a company because one of the trolls actually took my resume for a senior DBA position, and he never actually gave it to to that customer. So I never heard from the vendor. I never heard from the company. So I went there through another friend of mine, and they said, "Okay, this is good. This is good." So they called me for an interview. Once the original guy or the headhunter or the recruiter came to know that my resume is already submitted there, he went back doors and he spoke to the vice president that no, he is my candidate. I was actually going to submit his resume, and I was actually blacklisted from that company. So watch out for these kind of trolls. Okay, so Twitter, yes, clean up your social media profiles. You don't want these kind of pictures there. Okay, make sure that you are professional, even if it is Facebook or LinkedIn. Put really great pictures, okay? Something that says that, oh my God, I wouldn't mind this guy coming and working for me, okay? Any political post that you have, for example, it could be pro-government, it could be anti-government, it could be a pro-religion, it could be anything. Make sure that they are clean. People will find you if you are on the social media. Even if you have blocked, for example, you have blocked your boss from trying to find you, he can always create another login which is not blocked and he can still find out and what your posts are and so on. So be careful. Some companies I remember had actually spoken to some candidates asking them to sign on to their Facebook in front of them. Even if they don't want to give the passwords, they want to see how their Facebook profile looks like. So watch out for that. Okay, so keep your social media profiles very clean. So prepare. What do you prepare? Okay. Oh, wait, prepare. Prepare and prepare. So three prepares, right? So prepare what? First, know your subject, right? I mean, you know what F stands for. So KYFS. Know your subject well. Make sure that you are applying for a position with which you are at least 80 or 90% confident. Don't apply for a F-16 fighter plane flying when you actually cannot even fly a two jet engine that runs off of your private airways. No, this is the best thing to do is prepare, learn the job, see if it fits you. Then if there is some polishing up to do or going through the fundamentals of your subjects, go through that, because somehow miraculously almost all the people for a DBA questionnaire, for example, they somehow ask you the same stupid questions. Okay, a customer calls you, your SQL server is running very slow. What would you do? And this just totally drives me up the wall, because guys, can you not come up with a more creative question? This is something that is already listed by hundreds of DBAs as a most potential DBA questionnaire in the interviews. So give me something else. So know your subject. Remember your resume. Oh my God, I cannot tell you how many times we make mistakes because we say something which our resume contradicts and you lose 10 points right off the cuff over there. So remember, whatever resume you give there, try not to have too many versions of your resumes floating around. I made that mistake and paid dearly for that. And research the interviewers. How many of you do that? Seriously, can we just have a show of hands over here, please? Just if you can say me, whoever it is, that'll be awesome if you can do that. Yeah, I have something. Oh, okay, great. I see three or four people.
Yeah,
Okay.
some people are piping up.
Yep, absolutely. And nice to see them awake at this time of the day on this time of the week. So I cannot tell you enough number of times that researching your interviewer is one of the best ways to lower that barrier between you and your interviewer. So when I went for a job interview, I had already complete history of what that lady was. She later on became the best boss I have ever worked for, and she ever since that we have been great friends. Yes, we are also connected on Facebook. I'm not shy of that. Even my HR manager from that company is on my Facebook. But the thing is that we found some common things, we found some common friends, and we brought it up. And the moment you could see, she was sitting across the table from me with folded hands. And the moment I brought up our mutual friends, and she had already dropped those hands, and we were already talking like pals. And she looked at my resume and she said, you know, Paresh, you've done so much DBA crap in your life. I'm not even going to ask you any more technical questions. So let's talk about what you want to do in life and so on. So you see what happens when you research your interviewers. This, by the way, also applies for the interviewers themselves, that if you are going to be interviewing some new candidates, make sure you research them. I actually research, like right now, I'm looking for a database administrator in my company, and I am researching every guy I interview. And I found out, oh, yeah, you know him. And then I actually went on to make sure that they are not working for the same company, and I got referrals from those people, his ex-colleagues, his ex-bosses, who are my personal friends too, and say, okay, how is this XYZ doing? And they're like, oh yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's not the best communicator, but he's a great DBA. And I'm like, okay, we can work on that, not a problem. So remember, research the interviewers, research the company. Man, one of the super duper questions a boss will ask you during your interview is, why my company? Instead of sounding very corny and giving like, yeah, you guys are supposed to be the next best to Amazon or Google. That is why I want to join you. Never badmouth your existing company. So you say, my company is great, but I find that you guys are working on this product line, which shows a really significant forward thinking. And it's absolutely the right industry for me to be in. And I think that is one of the reasons why I chose to apply over here. And then I flip it around on my interviewer and say, you tell me, why should I apply in your company? A couple of them didn't like it, but I was bold enough because I didn't really care enough if I get the job or not. Or guess what? I actually got the job because I asked the question, you tell me, why should I join your company, right? And then he says, yeah, of course, because we have great benefits. The team spirits here are very good. We are very progressive. We are already into Azure and so on. So research the company. Do not hesitate to interview your interviewer. We'll also cover that a little later, right? Okay. Research the industry. Um, just if you can type a quick answer here, what do you think are the three top industries that you should be looking for in your job right now? If you can, I'll really appreciate that interaction. Haha, technology, healthcare, energy. Very nice. Okay, technology, banking, healthcare. Okay, great. Finance. Okay. So, great. So we have a variety of answer, right? So this lady, Sarika Badani, says retail, finance, and healthcare. So apparently, I would say, for example, if you already made up your mind that this is where you're going to be going, then so be it. Research the industry. For example, I have been married to healthcare industry for, geez, I don't know how long. Cloud computing is a great one, Carlos. Thank you for giving that response. FinTech, another one. I just did my 6-month diploma from MIT on FinTech. What an amazing course. So yes, so you see there is a lot of variety of answers, but my finding, I would say healthcare, finance, and technology are the three best places to put my eggs against. Could you use cloud computing as an industry you want to join? Yes, it's not a bad idea at all. But I would rather go for a healthcare company that is actually hedging its bet on cloud computing rather than going all out for cloud computing. Are you able to keep up with that industry's growing technical requirements? For example, cloud computing. If you take the training today, the chances are the questions that are asked in the cloud certification exams are already different or based on a very different cloud infrastructure. So just watch out for that. Yes, they are all great answers. And thank you for indulging this. I really appreciate, guys. Okay. So research your industry. You'll thank me someday for this. And if the PowerPoint moves forward, that'll be awesome. Never stop looking. Why should you never stop looking? Number one reason, if you are in the same company doing the same job for 5 years or 10 years, you generally become branded with that job, you become branded with that company, and you almost completely become unemployable elsewhere. Um, so what happens is then when you lose your job, you will not find that same exact environment anywhere else, and you will then have to reinvent yourself all over again because you don't fit anywhere else. And please don't feel bad about it. But no matter how much you love your company, if you are having the correct network, if you are going to these conferences, these webinars, you will understand what is out there in the job market. Just for the kicks, go on to LinkedIn, look for a job, see what they're asking. So, for example, you are a SQL developer, right? And you want to apply, or you just want to see what the heck is going out there. And now you will be absolutely baffled to see the type of requirements they have of a SQL developer. So I'll give you a classic example. Like I think this is in one of our New England SQL Server user group meetings about 5 years ago. We had some sales bigwig from Microsoft who had come and given us a keynote address, and he said that the DBAs, within 5 years, your job will change so much that if you do not change yourself, you will be out of job and you will be unemployable because you did not sharpen your skills. So go into development, go into Azure, go into cloud. And that's what I did. Okay. And I'm so proud that I was able to actually listen to this gentleman. Further, uh, when you are looking, chances are you will apply. And when you apply using all the fundamentals that I showed you earlier, there is a huge chance you will get an interview. Now you will see people are asking different questions in the interview. For example, I'll give you a classic question that they asked me, okay? And I would love to see how many of you can actually answer that question. It is not a technical question, so you should be able to answer. I have a piece, sorry, not a piece. I have a whole circular cake, okay? Beautiful cake that has been ordered from Conditor Meister of Boston, which is the best wedding cake in the whole of the country. I have to cut it into 8 equal parts in 3 cuts. How would I do it? These are the types of questions they ask you. If you have an answer, you have my email address, you have my Twitter handle, please go ahead and tell me that, okay? So these are the types of questions they ask you. There is no right, there is no wrong. They just want to see if you are getting baffled or are you getting disturbed when they ask you questions you can't answer. So they'll ask you, okay, forget about this. We don't want to know how you go about handling complaints about bad performance or badly performing query. In one of the jobs that I got, they actually had me go for a 3-hour presentation on 5 questions they had given me ahead of time. They said, we want you to go ahead and make a perfect presentation of how you would handle these 5 situations that we run into our DBA's daily life. And lo and behold, I was actually able to give, and because I speak at a lot of these events, presentation came to me very, very well. And I was able to nail that job. I got it. I worked with them for a long time before I started looking elsewhere. See, there is a question. Yeah, so Luke Berry, yay, thank you. So Luke Berry has given the answer about the cake question. He says, got it. So make 2 normal cuts, right? So that'll give you 4 pieces, correct? You do it vertically, and then the third cut would be horizontal. So thank you, Luke, for indulging in this. I really appreciate that. So these are the types of questions you should be prepared to answer. Maybe you don't know, but don't get disturbed. Don't let them ruffle your feathers, okay? Uh, Just as you update your technology, update your interview skills too. How would you do that? Have at least one recruiter with whom you can confide 100%. Tell him you lost a job, you're looking for something. If you don't lose the job, you're still looking, you want to share it with them. Do not let it go. Keep on preparing your interview skills all the time, right? Okay. Food habits. Now, Fresh, are you in your right frame of mind? What are you talking about food habits? Don't laugh, but just go through this with me and tell me how many of you actually make these mistakes, okay? What you don't eat before your interviews. Very important. For example, and I'll bring up this, but don't call me a racist here, but if you're an Indian, make sure you don't eat any spicy food, especially garlic laden food, or Italians for that matter. Make sure that you eat fairly well rounded food, but not very spicy. The reason is because not only does your mouth smell foul, but even the body odors that come out because of your food habits can be very offensive, and you could have lost your interview even before starting your interview. So be careful of what you eat. Um, what you eat, what you don't eat the day of. How many of you have heard of a woman losing her job interview because she had that proverbial piece of parsley sticking out between her teeth? Seriously, guys, this is absolutely inexcusable for you to be. Yes, I mean, I'm not against parsley or broccoli, but believe me, on the day off, make sure before you go to the interview, you brush and floss your teeth as well. Well, I'm not your dentist, but do it anyways. Personal looks. Can never tell this enough. This is not okay. Okay, yes, I love my country. I'm sure you love your country too. But for a professional job interview, this is not cool. Okay, this is not cool either. Okay, jeans, baggy jeans, mini skirts. No, this is cool. I really like it. It's easy to remove your jacket and your tie because I remember there's one specific interview I'd gone to. Everybody was in shorts and t-shirts. So I actually asked them, am I overdressed for the interview? And my interviewer, who was eventually turned out to be my boss, said, kind of, but you know what, if whatever it makes you feel comfortable. I said, you know what, let me be you guys. So I removed my jacket, removed my tie, and opened a couple of buttons on the top of my shirt, and we had a nice long chat. We started with Patriots, ended up with the Boston Red Sox. There's virtually nothing that was discussed about technology, and I still got the job because I was formally dressed. You give the impression that yes, you really care about the interview and the interviewers, and you respect their position. If not anything else, you will live happily ever after. Floss your teeth. I cannot tell you this enough number of times. Please do that. Also, sometimes you will have noticed that your tongue inadvertently ends up going in that absolutely unreachable part of your mouth where you're trying to get a piece of broccoli out of the teeth there. Yeah, this kind of hair, no good. Okay, yes, they love Einstein, but if you ask him to apply for a DBA manager's position or a cloud architect, possibly he may not get away with this. This is just my opinion. You may absolutely totally differ. Your right to express yourself, I'm not going to take it away, but when in the professional field, you want to be very careful what you do. The favorite and the pet peeve of a lot of interviewers is when you start doing this in your interviews, this chewing gum, trying to blow the bubble only to realize that, geez, I shouldn't have actually done this over here. Please don't do this. Definitely no tobacco. No matter how great a baseball player you are off the field or on the field, but make sure that you do not have that in your interview because also the tobacco smells awful when you are in a closed room in your interviews. Any questions, comments so far? Beard, not bad, but make sure they are very nicely trimmed and you will love that kind of, the people love this kind of look too. Use deodorants which are subtle. Don't go for something that is actually going to make the guy across the table allergic to something that you have. Again, I'm not pushing for any of these brands, but be very careful what you use there, okay? Arrival. Just a quick question. When do you arrive for an interview? Can just somebody type some answers here? 15 minutes early. Luke Perry, he's on top of his game. I love that guy. Deirdre saying 20 minutes early. Somebody says Carlos says 5 minutes early. I would say I'm tending to go 15 or 20 minutes early. Too early means that you have nothing else to do in life and that's why you're there. So they may not actually like that. What I do is, and if I really have time, so Carlos, you said 30 minutes, but if you have 30 minutes, don't go and report straight to the interviewer or the receptionist. What I would do is if I am 30 minutes ahead of time, I would actually stake out that place. See how the receptionist is welcoming the people. See what kind of people are going into the organization. See what type of people are going out of that organization. That will give you some indication if this is the right place for you to work. Because if the receptionist is grouchy and she is going to be like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah," yeah, you possibly think, is this how the company is going to be inside? So just stand back and observe what they do. Go about 15, 20 minutes early. So what do you do once you are there, right? Just 15, 20 minutes early, right? If by any stroke of luck you're going to be late, please remember the name of the HR person or your interviewer and call them or SMS them to tell them you're going to be running late. But here's some more tips, okay? Give them plenty of heads up if you're going to be late, if it's going to be planned tardiness. If it is hot, I would suggest go there 20 minutes early, sit in the office building, help your sweat dry, go to the bathroom, wash your face if you have talcum powder or anything else. If you are wearing long sleeve shirt, go ahead, roll up your sleeve, wash your hands to the best of your ability without making your shirt too wet, okay? And then dry it properly before you head out for your interview. Put some deo or deodorant if you have that, it'll go a long way. Uh, Always pleasantly greet the receptionist. I can tell you the number of times I have seen people coming like, okay, yeah, I have an interview. I need to go there. Yeah, hi, how about a good morning or a good afternoon? Dude, I also work here, remember? So make sure that you're nice to the receptionist. In my job, this is my job in the Middle East about 30 years ago, when I would go into a meeting and I have seen the receptionist actually pointing to her neck saying that this guy is no good, even as she approached the manager. So the receptionist can actually make or break your interview too. So be very careful about that. During the interview, now he talks. Cool. Make sure you put off your cell phones. Guys, I cannot tell you enough number of times. Put it off. Don't even put it on vibration mode. If you must, because you are on call or something like that, or you're expecting a family emergency, you want to get yourself excused ahead of time saying that, I was barely able to fit this time into my schedule, but I'm on call. So if I get the call from the same number twice, that means that I really need to take call and we might have to reschedule this interview again. And they will actually appreciate that. But make that call based on your judgment of the situation. Warm handshake. Don't give just the 3 or 4 fingers for the person who is reaching out his hand to shake your hands, right? Do not use 2 hands. I'm from India and I used to do that a lot. That was considered as a very offensive move in this part of the country. So since then, I stopped using 2 hands for a handshake. If they offer coffee or water, please accept it. Even if you don't drink tea or coffee or water, just go with them. That is your opportunity to lower that barrier. You can actually have some small chat, the icebreakers that happen at the coffee or the water cooler conversation. That is a perfect way to do this. When you walk towards the coffee machine or the water cooler, you will see how this particular person is being greeted. So that will also give you an impression about the overall environs in that department. So definitely do not let this coffee offer go. Even if you don't drink the coffee, just go there, take a sip, and say, you know what, I'll finish it later, and something like that. And then they will not remember whether you actually finished the coffee or not. Small niceties go a long way. For example, I'll show you one thing here. Appreciate family photos, right? Chances are if you're going to a manager's office, they already have some picture of their spouse with their children or their dogs. Oh my God, they love when you talk about dogs. Do not, oh my God, lovely family. And don't try to link them, oh, this must be your wife or your girlfriend or your sister. Just say, wow, lovely photo. Who is it? This is very nice. And I'm happy that you are a family kind of person. So definitely do that. That is a question here. Okay. So there's a question here. Wait, hang in there, buddy. So when I explain what my task was, do I need to say I did or we did? Awesome. Can you just hang in there, Tesfa, for a little bit? Okay, I will address that. Okay. Um, avoid political discussions at all costs. Okay. So whether you like a particular political party, you don't like a political party, don't talk about it. Please repeat in your minds, I will not get political or religious in my interviews. There are pitfalls about this, and I can tell you this. I hope it's not held against me sometime, but this is immediately after my MBA in Bombay, and me and my colleagues were called for a group interview. So three people out of that, they were going to select one of us for a job. The very reputed Indian newspaper. This is roughly 34 years ago. Okay, that time the vice president of that company in the marketing, and I have done my marketing in MBA and marketing MBA. And this lady, she came straight on to us and said, guys, do you find me hot? And I remember this because one of my friends who was himself an interviewer in a lot of these companies had told me that this is a very common pitfall that they will actually have you walk into, and you want to be very watchful about that. Uh, my friend who did not get the job, and he did say that, yeah, you are really hot. And he says, oh, thank you so much. And then she looked at me, and I remembered my friend's advice, and I said, okay, this is a very personal question. Can we take this after the interview is over? And guess what? I got the job. So be very watchful about these kind of discussions. There could be pitfalls. They are created actually for that. Now comes the exit line. I'm asking you, why do you want to leave your existing job? And with that, I will answer the question that was raised by, um, what is the name? I'll try to get that name in a second. Okay, one sec. So she asked, along with this, the question was, how do we say we versus I during an interview? So let's address that, right? This is an interview time. This is going on exactly. So let's first tackle the exit line. My exit line has been very honest with everybody else. For example, in my previous job, I was actually let go. Okay. I did not mince the word. And they said, why did your boss let you go? I said, I'm sorry, but I can't give you too much details, but we had chemistry issues and it didn't work out. Our wavelengths were different. So I would prefer not to talk anything more than that. And they really respected that. There was another place when I was looking for it, and I said, I find the company, the industry is great, the company is doing really great, but as a department, I don't think we are going anywhere. And that is why I started looking. And because, yes, we are doing great job, but we are only doing more of the same thing as against something new. Anything new was actually handed off to contractors rather than the existing people who have worked hard. And they like that kind of answers too. Then coming back to the question that was just raised as to when do we use we versus I. This is a tricky slope, right? I actually lost a job interview because I used the word we too much, and they said that, oh yeah, it's always your team who is doing all this. You're not doing anything. So I'm like, no, but when I say we, I was part of the team. No, but what was your contribution? And if you do too much of I, then that doesn't fly very well either. So how will you handle that? So I have done this in the past, is say that, there are a lot of things that we have done as a team. And if you want to ask me, or if you want me to tell you what is my specific contribution out of the team, then I would gladly answer that too. So if I did say, for example, A, B, C things were done, and I said, okay, we planned this disaster recovery exercise, for example, it's always been great. Out of that, my job was to research a vendor, but then also because we were a team, we were constantly updating each other. So I had a complete picture of what was going on in the V. That was way of putting it. And when I talk about it a lot of in I, Yes, this is the specific task that was given to me, and hence I use the word I. But as a team, we were responsible for the whole project. Out of the project, the projects were divided into, say, 200 tasks. Out of those, I carried out 40 tasks, but I'm glad that as a team, we succeeded. So people like to hear the word team, they like to hear the word we, but this is your chance to sell yourself. So don't cut yourself short. That's the fundamental rule. If it comes to that, I would rather err on the side of I rather than we. So somebody raised their hand. Let me see. What is the question? I don't see the question. I don't know what was the question.
She's just saying thank you.
Oh, okay, cool, awesome. So be prepared with your exit line. Mutual connections, right? Ha. During the interview, do not forget to bring out the mutual connections. Okay, hey, I see you know this person ABC, right? Yeah, what a great guy. I loved working with him. I know him because I met him at one of the SQL Saturdays, and we struck off very well. And yeah, don't bring out if that's your girlfriend or a boyfriend, but make sure that if you have mutual connections, absolutely make a point to bring it up. Do not wait for that person to bring it up. It's your interview, you ask them. Okay. Don't ask, can I work from home in this interview? Things will come when you will get a chance to ask this question. At that time, ask them. But if working from home is your prerequisite condition, and the company is saying, oh, why is he even worried about, why is he not trying to come to office and work with the team? So be very careful before you ask this. If you have to absolutely work from home, then I would say even before you come to the interview, clarify that with your HR. Are you allowing, because my condition is such, my health condition is there, or I have some special arrangements that I need to make and I need to work from home, I need to be a remote worker for whatever reason. Unless you have a very pressing reason, do not bring this up. Okay, can I work from home? Avoid the funny stuff, right? Uh, what is funny for you may not be funny for somebody else. Uh, be very careful what you're talking about in terms of jokes. Everybody doesn't share your sense of humor, so be very careful. If you see your boss making a joke, or the interviewer or your hiring manager making a joke, you may actually want to retort by giving a counter joke or something like that, which is not offensive. But yeah, generally be very wary of funny stuff during the interview. Okay. And I'm sorry for the French here, but don't bitch about the previous job or the previous company or the previous boss. You will never, ever go anywhere if you're going to do that. As I said, that's a great company, but now I find that our career goals, my career goals are slightly different. I do not believe that the company is headed in that direction. Don't say they are headed in the wrong direction. That's not your business decision. So say they are, our kind of visions are slightly different, and hence I would prefer to look for a company that is actually more aligned to my career goals. And talk about books you read, the blogs you read or the blogs you wrote, the forums you attend, and the professional groups like the past professional development virtual chapter. Definitely talk about them. And yes, of course, say how great I was. So sitting, right? When you're sitting, sit upright. Don't slouch. Again, don't slouch. Please repeat after me. I will not slouch. Don't stretch or spread your legs as a sign of casual thing. Please sit very, very formally. This will absolutely, if you do any of these things against what I'm telling you, you have lost your job in the first 10 seconds. And I absolutely promise you that. There is a gentleman called Tom Grosher. He also talks about this topic. And he actually, his thing is, how do technical people lose in their interviews in the first 10 seconds? That's his title. You'll love this. Some of this material has been taken from his presentation too. Sit directly opposite to the interviewer. You catch all his vibrations. Whether you believe it or not, culturally or philosophically, depends on that. But sit opposite, you can take all his facial expressions, the sincerity in their eyes can all be caught very easily if you sit across the interviewer. Do not, I would urge you not to sit at 90 degrees if there's only one person in the room. Okay? Interviewing the interviewer. What's your team? Ask them, what's your team? What's your management style? Are you hands off, or you can't ask him if you're a micromanaging SOB, but yes, that's what you're saying. What's your management style? Are you hands off? Do you give an assignment and then only follow up on the day given? Ask them, what will I do on day one? What would I do on day 30? What would I do on day 90 when I join your team? How do you handle employee failure, right? I mean, one of the first things that almost all my bosses have told me is, Paresh, if you screw up, get up and say, I did it. I'll really respect you for that, because we are people who are on the front. We make mistakes, but if you don't acknowledge that, I'll be very pissed. And ever since that, whenever I make a mistake, the first thing I say is, mea culpa, we'll handle my firing later, but let's work on fixing the situation first. Ask them, what's your technology roadmap? Chances are they don't know. Okay. And why do they have this opening? Is it a backfill, or is it is this something new that came up? They will know, you will know by their answer whether they've been having a high turnover in that department, and you can ask them, why, what the heck happened? Why are so many people leaving? You can chat with them offline about this. What do you expect from me, right? If I join you today, as I said, on day 1, day 30, day 90, what do you think about training? This is a classic stumbling block for most managers. Almost 90 times out of 100, you will get a very philosophically round answer, which is not at all accurate, and you want to watch out for that. So that means that this company is not committed to the training of their employees, and you may consider twice before actually accepting the job offer. You say, oh yeah, there's no formal budget, but if you have something, let me know. And then the moment you say, okay, you know what, I want to go to the PASS summit this year. Oh yeah, but we didn't budget for it. Yeah, but you told me you don't have a formal budget. So can you please get this thing approved? So don't wait to find out after 1 year that they don't have any training budget. Okay, closing. Definitely ask pointed questions. Is there anything in my resume or our talks that you would like me to work upon? They will love you for asking that. When do I expect to hear back from you? They say, yeah, we'll get back to you in a week or two. Not a great answer, which means you might generally forget about that job. That means that they don't generally like you. If they say, yeah, you know what, I'll talk to my HR and see if I can actually get you in next week for a second round of interview or something like that, that is positive. So if there is anything but positive, be a little wary. I mean, you can't do much about it, but at least you know. What are the next steps and when? Exactly. So these two are married questions, so feel free to ask them. Warm handshakes again. Again, do not give a limping hand there, okay? And ask them, is it okay for me to connect on LinkedIn? Not Facebook, okay? And follow up and do reach out on LinkedIn to connect with them. And in that, you can write a note to them thanking them for whatever they are doing and their time, right? And do not bring up the salary in the first part. The HR will get back to you about the salary. So logging, I'll just go through this really quick because we don't have too much time, right? But maintain a simple spreadsheet in the cloud. Like, again, cloud means OneDrive or Google Drive or whatever. Keep all these things there. I have a sample of it here too, and I'll show you. And once the chapter is closed, something like this, it'll go a long way for you to be able to do this, right? See what I did this for a lot of places, right? UMass Med School, MathWorks, Nigel France, Cirrus Group, NBI Resources. And then you can take a copy of this and send it to the unemployment office if you are looking for any unemployment benefits too. So this will go a long way for you to do this. So use this format. You can have a better format. Go ahead and tweet about it and share it with me. I love that too. So, okay. Follow up, right? Write a thank you note, right? If you don't get a regret message, if you get a regret message, still go ahead and follow it up. Okay. You will not lose anything by doing that because you're already not getting the job. You might as well say thank you for your time. So conclusion, right? Let's conclude. Network all the time. Prepare. Arrive early, interview the interviewer, right? Have a very good closing and follow up after that. Questions? Do we have time for that? We have no time. It's almost 1 minute to go. But if you have questions, I can share my email again with you guys. Thank you very much for your time. And again, as I said, this is my contact information. Please go ahead and tweet about it. I'll really appreciate that. And the chapter itself, if you like to come and present at this chapter, we would love to hear from you. Both Janice and I would love to see you guys come and talk. And if you have a topic that you like to listen about, feel free to talk to me about that too. We would love to include a variety of topics. We want to have this go out more formally and more regularly than ever before. So without much ado, Janice, thank you. You want to take it over, my friend?
Well, thank you so much, Paresh. That was fantastic. I did not know some of those things. The trolls, that was scary and interesting. So I really appreciated that, and some good reminders on other things like flossing your teeth before you walk into an interview. And just some other folks are saying thank you and great presentation, and that they identified some issues they need to correct. So that is fantastic. That's exactly what we want to see.
Beautiful. So thank you, folks, and have a great weekend, and whichever part of the world you are. So good afternoon, good morning, or good evening. Thank you, and I will sign off now, okay? So there is a cover letter thing from Carlos. Carlos, can you email me about this, my friend? We can talk about it offline, okay? Thank you. Okay, take care. Bye, Janice. Thank you so much for your work, my friend. Okay,
Goodbye. Thank you.
bye-bye.